What's up, Fab Crew? It's Kishshana Palmer popping back into your inbox. It's been a minute. I had to kind of take a breather, kind of figure things out. And if you are anything like me, the last few weeks have just been sort of an alternate universe of trying to figure out what's next, what are we doing, inside, outside, upside down. This darn corona has got us twisted, okay? And it's even got your girl, literally. So, yes, friends, I actually did test positive for the COVID-19, the coronavirus. Yes, I can't even say it straight, but I did. And I'm sitting here with you today, smiling, happy, but tired. So, I wanted to talk with you about what this virus looks like because it looks different for everyone. And also, despite the fact that I look pretty upbeat, and in this moment do have some energy, that I'm not quite out of the woods yet. So, just as a sort of like blanket statement, as best as I could, yes, I did follow all the rules. So, the made up expression of social distancing did that. Washing my hands, not touching my face. I've had on my glasses for well over a month at this point. And so, everything that this mama bear could do to keep myself and her cub safe, I did. And yet, last week during a conference call with some colleagues, I started to feel really warm. And I thought that the room was overheating, but in fact, it was me. And so after my call, went and got a thermometer and took my temperature, and it was elevated. And then I started to mark the time and take acetaminophen on a schedule. The next morning, when I woke up, my fever was not any better. And so I went over to urgent care. I got flu swabbed and I was able to get the coronavirus test and was told to go home, shelter in place, quarantine myself from my daughter, and wait for the results. Over the next 24 hours, my fever skyrocketed to a whopping 104. Props to my daughter, who is a teenager now and was able to pack me full of ice, get me into a tepid shower, still keep her whole self gloved up. She looked like one big latex, and keep all of our things separate while trying to help her mom break her fever. Big responsibility for a teenager, but she handled it really well. I was able to break my fever from that very high fever within 24 hours, but still held on to a fever of around 101, and hovering between 99 and 101 for the next several days. So today, as of this recording, it is Tuesday, and so I'm probably going to put this up for Wednesday. I have not had a fever, a real one, since Friday. I have had a low grade a couple of days off and on, and my blood pressure has been elevated. But I did go back to get my lungs looked at again, and so far my lungs are clear. What has remained is ridiculous fatigue. And so that comes and goes. I'll have an hour, hour and a half where I'm up. I have a lot of energy, like I do right now. And then I will sort of slip back into needing a nap, a long nap. And so that has definitely been one of the side effects. Another one is that I've lost my sense of smell. I am hopeful that that is temporary. I'm not congested. I can breathe just fine. I just can't smell anything. And so it's a good tester when I'll be able to smell onions again, or perfume or anything. But right now, I have not been able to regain that particular sense. And I noticed it sort of by accident. When I was getting dressed to go to the doctor, I put on my usual get ready in the morning and couldn't smell myself. And so that was one of the indicators. And then I later saw an article that said that people are experiencing that as well. So here's what I want to say about sort of like how folks are behaving. So one, in addition to this being a critical time, we're also acting from a really sort of like either, it looks like a pendulum, either super irresponsible and just ignoring all advice, regardless of where the advice originates, or we're treating folks like lepers. And neither extreme really, really helps. To be clear, people have been anything from super concerned for my health to just concerned if I touch them at some point or another and not even asking me, how am I doing? And that has been really revealing. And so if you have people in your family or in your friend groups who have tested positive, please try to be a little bit more compassionate. The reality is this is like a really bad spade tan, y'all. So it's like two and a possible. So for every person that anyone comes in contact with, there is a probability that you and two others also may have the virus and may be asymptomatic. I was on the road last month, but I've been home for several weeks. And so it could have been any interaction I had in a supermarket, in a drugstore. I really went out to one event for about 30 minutes. I pretty much have been doing work stuff. It could have been my kid from school and she's asymptomatic. It could have been anyone at any time for any reason. And so focusing on making sure that people are washing their hands thoroughly, 20 seconds, keeping your hands out of your face, making sure that you're cleaning your doors and your doorknobs and your bathroom seats and your countertops, and you're not using hand cloths that aren't, you're not washing every day. We moved to using disposable Bounty or whatever brand you want to use. Just trying to really take those precautions and being really serious about it and educating your young people in your house about it and your older folks. I've heard a lot of people talk about the fact that their parents just were not listening and like gave zero F's about staying inside and not engaging in social activities. Wherever I can encourage you to minimize that as much as possible is going to be really, really important. But first and foremost, making sure that you yourself are operating with care and your family's operating with care, and then you're not making light of people who are ill. Everybody is not like me, and I'm not necessarily out of the woods. God forbid, I could relapse at any time. And so, although I am a week and a couple of days on the outside of my first symptoms, by the time you'll be seeing this, that doesn't mean that things can't go left. So please treat people with compassion and care. Also, for folks like me who are business owners and small business owners, I don't have a paycheck on the 15th and the 30th that I am relying on or can count on, similar to folks who are in the gig economy, who are creatives relying on the next gig that they had or things they had booked that are now canceled. It's the same for me with clients whose trainings were in person, for conferences that I was slated to keynote that have been canceled or postponed, for in-person coaching that I've managed to move online. But there's still business that is lost, and lots of organizations and companies operate from a place of lack and also from a place of caution, depending on who you talk to. And just like marketing services, when things feel really different, oftentimes consultants are the first line to be cut as well. And so this is a really interesting time for my company, a really interesting time for me and for other fellow solopreneurs and small business owners who have staffs like I do, where we try to think about how we're going to serve you better and how we're going to be of service, but also that we have families and staffs to feed as well, and we have businesses to run. And so just to be mindful of that and to know, folks might be wondering, well, why aren't I sleeping or resting? Well, if I sleep or rest, which I have been doing to be clear, and I'm not present and visible, the world is still turning and going on. I still have a business to run. I still have business development that I need to do. I still have contracts that I did sign. I still have obligations that I need to meet. And so it is super important for me to get well, but also to be mindful that my ability to be well also is predicated on my ability to be able to have business as well. And I am not the only one in that position. For organizations and companies that I typically am the trainer in-house for, the coach in-house for, the facilitator in-house for, thank you for the emails and the phone calls saying, we got you, girl. We're still behind you. What do you need? As soon as you're up and well, let's go. There's work to be done. Everybody is not in that position. And so for organizations who are thinking about like stopping fundraising because of the time we're in, now is the time to really engage with donors, to really engage with your supporters, not just saying we need money, but also really shoring up your case for support. If you are an organization who has been struggling with fundraising, now is not the time to pull out your tin cup. We're not even getting into that mentality. Really, really be laser focused about the message you want to share about your mission and why it is critical given the times that we are moving into, because we're not going backwards, y'all, we're only going forward, so that you're able to really share a really critical message. For those of you all who are thrust into virtual management for the first time, it's a scary time, particularly when you might not have been a really good manager to begin with. I mean, I'm just going to say it. And so please, please, please make sure that you leverage the resources that I have on my website, KISHSHANACO.com. Go to resources, go to downloads, and grab everything you can. I have lots of training resources that are free and low cost, and some mid-cost things. And my team is ready to serve you in a virtual capacity until we're back in person. And then I have other colleagues who are here to serve as well. So whatever you're looking for in terms of making sure your employees are well set up for success, my company is here and my team is here to be able to support that work. So I just wanted to make sure that I kind of name that, because I think a lot of times we forget that there are so many businesses that are operating in our ethos and in our ecosystem. And that includes freelancers, and it includes solopreneurs, and it includes small business owners. And y'all, it's going to include some charlatans and some folks who had no business jumping into virtual anything, who are going to see this as an opportunity to wrap their arms around your fear and squeeze. And so please make sure that you're being mindful about all of that as you think about how to spend your hard-earned coins and your budgets and your dollars, because that's going to be really, really important. Thank you again for listening. Wash them hands 20 seconds or more. Make sure that you're keeping all your surfaces clean and clear. Wash your clothes if you're in the house. Don't wear the same house clothes for 4 or 5 days. Like, wash your stuff, y'all. Okay, keep things separate. Making sure that you are not just prioritizing your own health, but that you are being mindful of those who have been affected by this virus, those who are showing symptoms, and those who aren't. So there's the health stuff, there's the mental stuff, there's the money stuff. And so we're all in this together and handling it different ways. But I wanted to just kind of put a face on someone who has tested positive for the virus and am seemingly on the mend, and yet we'll be taking a nap after this video because it has really worn me out. Any questions, please feel free to drop a comment in the video below or in my DM, or send me an email at letschat@kishshanaco.com. I will get to them, or one of my team members will get to them as soon as we can. All right, y'all. Be well. We'll talk soon.